everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina, and happy Monday to you all. I hope that you're having a fantastic Monday, a fantastic start to your week, and I hope that you had a great weekend as well. Hopefully you endured lots of fun activities, you had some downtime, you had some time to feel productive. I feel like that's such a great even balance if you're able to get all three of those things, maybe even throw some problem solving in there so you're able to get ahead of the game for anything that's been causing you trouble or giving you setbacks. But I hope that it was a good weekend, and again, happy Monday. This week we are talking about how to rest, and I'm actually pretty excited about it because it was a last minute idea that I had, but I found that when I started to do more research and really think about it, it's important because I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily talk about taking a rest and what that actually means and how to do that. So I definitely want to talk about that this week and break that down over the course of this week with all 5 episodes and, really dive into it. But before we jump into that, I do want to remind you that if for whatever reason you are having a bad day today, right now, whether your day has just begun, whether your day is towards the middle or the end, I want to remind you that you can always take your 5-minute reset time. And you may ask yourself, okay, well, what is the 5-minute reset time? And the 5-minute reset is 5 minutes at least for you to be alone. And if you have more time, please take more time. But it's 5 minutes by yourself at least to regain your peace, to come back to baseline, to just recover, and kind of restart your day essentially. And it's important to do it by yourself because you want to be able to kind of think through what's been going on, what has caused you to get to whatever emotional heights that you have currently hit, and reflect on some things, at least 4 things that you are grateful for that will help humble you and kind of bring you back down to where you can think more rationally, maybe even take some time to problem solve whatever is coming at you. But also it's very important that during your 5-minute reset time, you are able to walk away feeling at least neutral, if not positive, about the rest of the day. Because the worst thing that you could do is to continue on with your negative attitude and drag other people down in addition during your day. And there is no fun in spreading your bad mood. And I know misery loves company, but that is definitely not a way to live. You should not be trying to drag other people down just because you're having a crappy day. But also you should think about, how you did take the moment to kind of reset, to kind of problem solve, to kind of humble yourself and realize, okay, I can get through the rest of this day. Even if I'm not happy-go-lucky, if I'm just neutral, if I'm just fine, I'm okay, I will try to enjoy the rest of this day and know that tomorrow will be better. Then that's what you need to do. So I encourage you to do that if you're struggling today with your bad day. But again, let's talk about how to rest. And today, Monday, we are specifically talking about what does it mean to rest. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. We all need rest, obviously. If we don't get it, we will break down. And a lot of time, not taking rest also means that we will burn out. We will have our cup be essentially empty. We will not be able to help others, and we will not be able to accomplish the things that we really truly want to get done. And that's just a shame. Why would we want to live our life like that? Why would we want to continually be running our life and trying to accomplish everything in our life by running on empty, always looking over our shoulder and not knowing if someone else is because I think I'm going to go off on a tangent on this, and I'm going to try really hard not to, but the whole looking over your shoulder thing is a lot of times if you're running on empty, but you're trying to get everything done, you're looking over your shoulder because you're super concerned that someone else is going to try to, jump in and accomplish things that you're working on, but you just don't have the energy or the time for, because you haven't taken the time to rest. And so you're afraid of competition. You're afraid of someone eclipsing you. Those are real thoughts. I know. They're not the most positive thoughts, and they're not the strongest thoughts to have, mental strength or emotional intelligence, but that happens as well. So it's important to take rest. all terrible things, even many things that I didn't mention will happen if you don't take rest. And rest isn't just taking a nap or relaxing. It's actually taking the necessary break from something for both your mind and body. I'm sure you've taken a nap or woken up and just as or even more tired than you were when you went to sleep. Like, I love a good nap. Like, believe me, I love a good nap, even if it's just a half an hour or even if it's an hour. I prefer a 2-hour nap if I can get it. I love nap time, but there have been many times where I am so tired because I either stayed up too late the night before or I just didn't sleep well despite going to bed on time or what have you. I'm not feeling well, whatever the circumstances may be. And in the middle of the day, if I'm able to find time, I will take a nap and I'm like, okay, I'm going to feel refreshed. And, a lot of times I have woken up feeling refreshed, but there's many other times where I've woken up and I feel so tired. I feel so sluggish. It is so hard to get back up out of the bed. It takes a lot. It takes about 30 minutes for me to finally actually get completely awake to get back to whatever I was doing. And, that doesn't sound refreshing. That doesn't sound like you're ready to take on the rest of your day. And that's why rest isn't necessarily just like what you would think it is easily as a nap. You need to be able to get revived and restored so you can move on to the next thing with enough in you to actually accomplish it. Like, you need to replenish your energy sources. It's not just this quick little 15-minute break and maybe that is super helpful. What we're talking about is like a deep insight to what actual rest is and how you need it and how you can do it. You need to replenish your energy sources. And not only are you restoring your lost energy with rest, but you are ensuring you will be able to tackle your projects with the same intensity as before or more. You don't want to slink back down in your intensity or your ability to accomplish things and hit new heights and, continue to forge on and, live your life and do you and be awesome like you are. And you don't want to take the chance of not being able to do that. So you need to implement rest into your life as it is super important as to take care of your mind, to implement self-care, to love and take care of yourself so you're able to accomplish the things you want to do and help others if that's super important to you. And, it's just, it's not only restoring lost energy. You are just filling yourself completely again. And there are many types of rest that we will discuss more in the coming episodes this week, but to name a few, there is mental rest, physical rest, emotional rest, social rest, which is, I feel like, one that a lot of people talk about and is super important, and we will touch on it, but I feel like it's not necessarily dived super duper deep in because people talk about taking social rest all the time. Spiritual rest and creative rest that you can take. So all of those are options. All of those are necessary at some point, and maybe sometimes you want to take them separate and you want to take them apart, or you want to take them all at once, which would be a really big deal, but a lot of people like to do things all at once, one shebang, so I get that. There are also many ways you can activate and engage in rest in your life, like finding self-care routines that would work for you, changing your mindset, creating your own ideas on how to make your life easier, kind of like a life hack situation. And you could schedule less. You could just have less things taking up time in your life. You could have less responsibility, especially if those responsibilities actually should not belong to you, but should belong to someone else, and you decided to shoulder that burden because you're so nice, or you thought it was going to provide you with some sort of bonus, like not surprise, bonus or like promotion or some sort of, it would bring you some sort of grandeur in your life that you wanted or desired. And it's just, sometimes we just strap too much to our back. We don't even realize it's going to break us until that final last thing is just attached right on, and then bam, we feel things breaking down. We feel it all sliding down our back. It's all going to fall down, and you're going to come crashing down right under it. So please consider that next time you take on a responsibility that you don't necessarily need to take on, and that's definitely one that's not for you to take on, and one you don't have time or room for. One of the biggest things to take away from this week's episode is that you need to learn how to let yourself rest. Allowing yourself to rest without feeling guilty or lazy will be the key to accomplishing more in your life and being fulfilled. And you have to come to this conclusion at some point, because if you don't, then again, like I said at the top, you will have a breakdown. You will burn out. You will have your cup almost empty. You will not be able to accomplish your goals in the things in your life, and you will not be able to help others. You have to make sure it's a priority in your life, and you have to make sure that you have the mindset that you should not feel guilty for it, and you should not feel like you're being lazy. Because if your idea of rest is to just take a break from everything in a whole day, and people might think, oh my gosh, that's super irresponsible. How are you able to do that? All these other people never had to do that, and that's fine. If someone tries to come at you with the argument of like, well, so-and-so never had to do that, why are you having to do that? It's because we're all different. And maybe Susan over there didn't take a rest day, and she is barely holding it together under her fake smile and fake grandeur, like emotional mask, and she is about to break. She is about to burn out. You don't know that. We don't know what's going on inside people's hearts and minds and how they truly feel about things. So just like comparing ourselves to each other, or someone else comparing you to someone else, is unfair, and they don't know the whole story. Despite how well you might know someone, you don't truly know what's going on in their mind and how they feel about things. And so, yeah, Susan might be like, seem like a rock star on the outside, but she could be like on the edge of breaking down on the inside. You don't know. So, and you are over here being like, okay, well, I don't want to be like Susan, unfortunately. I want to do me. I want to rest, and maybe I can encourage her to take a rest as well. And then we can both, be on the same page, both be going at it at our hardest, doing our best. Maybe Susan could be better, and she doesn't even know it if she just takes a rest. So please do not let someone else convince you that just because so-and-so doesn't do that, or it's a bad image to have. Like, honestly, you don't necessarily need all of that. If for whatever reason a company sees that you're taking rest and they see that negatively, then they obviously don't care too much about their employees, because I feel like the truest employer would understand that people need rest to prevent burnout, because burnout means that you're going to lose more employees. You're going to lose more people. You're going to have to spend money and time to train more people to get them ready in your company to work. And as opposed to having all these people that are super experienced and know what they're doing and can be trusted, you just let them all burn out. And, you're just going through that matchbook and just letting them rip until you get to the end. And then where are you? That's terrible. So anyway, I'm going to close down this episode, but I want you to know that rest is super important. It's another super crucial thing in your life, just like self-care, just like emotional intelligence, just like most of the things I talk about in here. It's super crucial, and you have to add it into your life somehow. And everyone's view of it and how everyone activates it in their life is different, of course. And we all need to find our own personal balance and not compare ourselves to each other, and just figure it out and figure out what is going to be best for us. But again, thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Again, happy Monday. I hope that you join me for the rest of the week with more episodes talking about how to rest in your life. And if you really enjoyed this episode and know someone else who would too, I encourage you to share it with them. And, take a little peek down in the description box. It has all the notes for the show. It has where you can find me on Instagram, my email address for any questions, comments, and concerns, or prayer requests. Or you can check out my website that also has, my podcasts, YouTube episodes, blog that is to come, those kind of things. So, and a place to email me as well. So thanks again for listening. I hope to see you next time. But until then, have a great one, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys.